Welcome back to the Lipoedema podcast. We are your host, Shell.
Today we are joined by a special guest, Abby Mortimer. Abby is from Nuvue Body Sculpting. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us. We're going to get straight into it, Abby. How did you come to learn of lipoedema and when was that?
So I actually came to learn of it about 2 years ago. And I would say that was through meeting clients of my own that had it. Just treating them and them describing to me things that were happening, and I would start to see cellulite presenting in the same way or swelling presenting in the same way. And then I started to do a bit more research on it myself and realized what it was, and that it's a genetic condition. And then I started to put the pieces together that I might have it.
Wow.
Yeah. So, I guess first when I didn't really want to admit that I had it. I always thought I just had cellulite. I had cellulite from, I would say, primary school, a very, very young age. No matter what I did, I just could not lose the weight off my legs. So there was times I would be like, 65 kg, very, very slim, and the cellulite and looking back now, it was lipedema fat, but it would still be there on my legs. I guess I sort of reached a point where I was thinking, I think I've got it. I might not, it might just be cellulite. But after, I guess reaching like what I call my burnout point of being extremely stressed and very tired, working 2 jobs or working a full-time job and running my business on the side, which I was building up at the same time, I eventually went to get a massage, and it was really a strange time for me because my neck area here was so tight, and I thought it was from working. I'm working, I'm going to the gym. My job's very physical, but found out that it was actually not muscular pain, it was lymphatic pain. Yeah, so a huge breakthrough for me when I was told, that's not muscular, that's lymphatic lumps. So it just, I guess, highlighted to me, one, how stressed I was, but also how congested our lymphatic systems get. So sometimes it's not just about having lipedema, it's about what else is going on with the lipedema that's, causing us pain in our bodies.
Yeah, that's right. And they say that because, I've heard people say that our lymphatics are impacted by we've got a dysfunctional lymphatic system, and that is why we have all of these issues and why our lymph is so important. So at that time, like, you were building your business, so you were already working in the lymphatic field. Is that right?
That's correct. So my treatments are lymphatic based. So I do a Colombian treatment. It's called wood therapy, and that was how I started originally, because my goal was and always has been to fix cellulite. Like, I've lived with it from so young that is what I was focused on. I was like, look, if I could just fix my cellulite, everything would be perfect. And learning about that treatment, it's a lymphatic drainage treatment. So meeting women who then were coming to me and they're saying, oh, I've got lipedema, so this will be good for me. And obviously at that time they were well more advanced in knowing about lymphatic drainage and how important it was. So through that's how I sort of grew into more learning, more in depth about lymphatics. Yeah, from there.
It would have been a wild ride. You start off with cellulite and here you are down this lipedema path.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And had you gotten advice about your legs at any other time? Like, had you tried to figure things out?
To be honest, the only advice I ever got was you just need to exercise and lose weight, you're fat. That's what I'd always been told. That's what I believed. I just thought I'm just one of those girls who just can't get skinny enough.
I reckon doctors need to have a stamp that just says, eat less, exercise more. Like the amount of time saying it, right?
Yeah. And the paper. Done.
Just stamp. There you go. There's my gold standard, people.
Yeah.
Eat less, exercise more. All right. So, so now, like, you're running your clinic, which is absolutely amazing. We need more people servicing us. What's your professional approach to treating lipedema patients?
Yeah, so it's evolved a lot, I would say, over the last few years. And the more I've grown in knowledge, the more I've been able to sort of increase the service that I'm giving. But I basically work as a one-on-one approach with my clients. So firstly, depending what stage you're at, assessing how blocked your lymphatic system is, what sort of things are you doing behind the scenes other than, professional treatments? Is there any other conditions complementing the lipedema as well? So it's really a whole body approach with everybody. We first, like, your first few sessions will be more about unblocking any blockages that you have in the lymphatics, and just making sure that we're starting to get everything actually moving, that you're flushing out toxins, making sure your drainage is actually starting to work for you. And then we basically work through a bunch of different modalities that we use. So we obviously do the manual lymphatic drainage, but we offer the wood therapy and radio frequency as well. So wood therapy, I would say, just targets the fat at a deeper level than hands can. So you will find you will get a lot more relief from a treatment. And then once we've sort of taken care of the fluid aspect, so we've drained what we can from your body, you're maintaining fluid balance between treatments, we can then start to actually target the fat with radio frequency. And that's when we really start to see results of the lipedema fat reducing.
Oh, that is fascinating. And you're right. Like, what's the point of doing all these other treatments if you can't get it out of your body anyway?
Yep.
And that's what we've spoken before about, people who go on a detox and drink green juice. Well, if your lymphatic system hasn't been addressed, that green juice is just going to not do nothing, because you haven't got a lymphatic system that's pushing all this stuff out. So I love that. I love that you're doing that first.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as you said earlier, like our lymphatic system is impaired. So we have trouble draining. Things obviously get stuck in there, and over time it just grows and grows. So being able to get ladies who, I mean, we grew up basically saying, right, we need to eat less. And that is sort of a mindset that we need to work on, where we say, right, it's not so much about what you're putting into your body, but it's more about how we're getting that out of the body, but also getting the, your cells to convert those nutrients properly.
That's so right, because like we've said, I keep saying we've said before, because we've just had so many different conversations over the last year. And that would be like where, say, one person can eat a fully beautiful whole food diet and another person can be eating ice cream and whatever else and not be gaining weight. But that would come down to lymphatic system, hey, because your body has to break that down and then get rid of the bits it doesn't need. So if you've got an impaired lymphatic system, it's going to hold on to that fat and hold on to those toxins and clog up those pathways. Yeah. Sorry, that just clicked to me. I hadn't thought about that before.
Yeah, no, it's so true. And I sort of, especially this year mainly, I've come to that realization that, like, I put a lot of healthy food into my body, and I started to sort of think, like, I put so much healthy in, but why am I not getting the same benefits that, say, a person without lipedema would get? And it's simply that your body just cannot do what it needs to do with it if you're stuck with waste inside.
Yeah, it can't absorb nutrients. It can't, convert it to, Wow, okay. Lymphatics are so important, aren't they?
So important, yeah.
So some of the tools, like you did just mention that you use a wood therapy, like they look a little intimidating and painful. How are they lipedema patients? Because we can, like, our lymph can be quite tender. So what's the sensation like and is that something you take into account?
Absolutely. So usually find, depending on what stage people are at, some really love the wood therapy. It doesn't really hurt. the tools are actually designed in a way to not hurt the body. So they don't damage tissue and they don't damage lymph. So, you know, there's always this notion that the lymphatic system, it is very delicate, especially at that skin surface level. But we do need to target the deeper lymph nodes in order to be able to start draining properly. So that deeper targeting is always done by hand. But what the wood is really good for is really getting into the tissue, or, you know, what some people would call fascia, but deep underneath the skin. It gets into it in a way that it starts to break down the fat adhesions without causing pain. So they're definitely designed in a way that it doesn't hurt, but it's definitely a different sensation.
Yeah, and that's used just for the targeted areas? Like just for where there's accumulation of fat?
There's accumulation of fats. And I mean, some people who are, say, stage 3, stage 4, once you get into that sort of progression with the lipedema, even manual lymphatic drainage hurts. Sometimes people are at a point where no matter how you touch them, it's going to be painful. So, I mean, we would not then go to using wood therapy, especially if the treatment's already painful. We would just stick with hands. So, yeah, definitely got to be really in tune with your client.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's something beautiful. Like, I know everything has a place, but I love like that hand-on body contact. There's so much healing in that. Like even allowing someone to touch your legs and touch your body when you have lipedema and you come from a space of protecting yourself from other people, to be that vulnerable and let someone do that, like, yeah.
And honestly, like when I have a lady who's, say, stage 3, stage 4, and they come in and they're allowing me to treat them, I love it. Like, honestly, there's just the deepest respect for them just coming to see me, and I'm just like, you know what, you rule. Whatever you need to do, we'll do it. Yeah, it's the best.
It's an honor, isn't it, that they're trusting you? Yeah. So we're curious, with do the results from the fat cavitation, is it different from lipedema to non-lipedema clients?
I would say ladies with lipedema have a better result, to be honest. The way that the radio frequency targets the fat, it melts it basically immediately with lipedema, whereas I feel like a normal fat is sometimes harder to break down. It's a little bit because of how it's used to burning on the body. Whereas lipedema fat, it's a lot more stagnant. It's been sitting there for a long time. So as soon as you hit it with any sort of fat burner or the heat, it melts. And so, I honestly find such a good result from the radio frequency. Yeah.
Oh, that is awesome. And so then that gets taken away by the lymphatic system. So
so a mixture with that. So it will actually it basically liquefies the fat cells, and it eliminates the same way it would during exercise. So your body will metabolize some's going to come out through sweat, some's going to come out through urine, and then some through the lymphatic system. Yeah.
Okay. And how many treatments would it take to get results, like for you to see results? Is it instant or does it take time?
It takes time. You do start to see results from about the 3rd session. Yeah, but over time, and just depending how much fat there is to reduce. Like myself personally, I was doing these treatments when I was in Melbourne before. That's what originally made me sort of look into these treatments more. And I was doing my legs just 40-minute sessions once a week, and 5 months my legs were perfect. No cellulite, nothing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's a once a week, for 5 months. So if you're doing it regularly, you're going to start to see results. Yeah.
So when you say regularly, and you spoke about a 40-minute session, is that on the whole leg? So how much surface area can...
For me, that was just upper, so my upper front thighs and upper back thighs.
Yeah. And that radio frequency is targeting the fat deposits.
Correct. Yep.
Treatment for skin tightening, is that correct? Can you talk about that for us as well?
It's actually combined. So the radio frequency, while it's heating, it will heat up the skin layer, and it uses a vibration to break down the fat cells. So you're using heat and vibration at the same time.
I'm curious because I've been through 2 surgeries.
Yes.
So I would say that, a lot of my volume of lipedema fat has been removed, but
Yeah.
I have a lot of loose skin because
Yeah.
the fat has been removed. So would something like that therapy be good for me, but I don't have the fat, it's more for the skin tightening?
Yeah, absolutely. It will still be good because it's heating up the skin layer and it's going to shrink down. So I've got a lot of ladies that don't really have fat as such. They've just got loose skin from maybe childbirth, or they've recently lost a lot of weight, and so the skin's loose. And we use the same treatment for them for tightening.
Right.
Yeah.
And you also have the new Sculpt, which is a muscle building device.
Yes.
I'm really curious to know about whether you have seen results from lipedema ladies, because we're hearing some messaging within the community, and I'm not sure how scientifically accurate it is, but that lipedema ladies struggle to build volumes of muscle like regular ladies, non-lipedema ladies. So
Yeah.
what's your thoughts with the experience that you've had in your sessions?
For muscle building, I personally, we do use the it's called EMS, or electromagnetic stimulation. I'm just hesitant sometimes because for ladies who already have fat on the body, and then we're building muscle underneath, if we're not melting the fat or we're not burning the fat at all, it sometimes can actually push the muscles out, and then the fat will feel larger. And so it's not really the first. We want to work on approach of making sure we're draining, making sure our body's reducing fat, making sure we can start to burn fat, and then we want to work on building muscle.
Right.
If that makes sense.
That's an interesting approach, yeah, because I know that muscle is way more metabolic than fat. So building muscle first could then help to aid the process of fat loss, but you're saying you sort of take a different approach in clinic.
Yeah, in clinic, absolutely. Unless it was someone with a strict gym routine already with a strength training. Like myself, I strength train 6 times a week. I should look like Wonder Woman. Like you said, lipedema, it's hard to build muscle. So we need to work on, I think if we change our mindset to reducing the toxins out of the body, making sure our drainage is optimal, and we're doing the little, daily habits to increase our drainage, then I think that's where it's at.
If you like, the whole manual lymphatic drainage thing is definitely key for us, and it also makes us feel better. And it's amazing how it took this condition to recognize just how beneficial manual lymphatic drainage is, or just lymphatic drainage, for everyone. It's a wellness thing, isn't it?
It's actually great even for people without lipedema.
For sure.
Absolutely.
Everybody.
And we sort of heard of it from the cancer community, didn't it? Like, it really comes from there because they have lymph nodes removed and then they end up with lymphedema, and then it sort of came from that avenue rather than coming from a wellness sphere, I suppose.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Lipedema for about 2 years. I'm very happy to hear that it sort of changed the way you practice within clinic, because that makes us feel safe in your care. Not only do you know about it, but you're implementing strategies to help us. For yourself, managing your own lipedema, what daily habits have you introduced?
So I have, this is going to sound so gross. Every morning I have a smoothie, and that consists of wild blueberries, pineapple, zucchini, spinach, protein powder, which is the organic vegan protein powder, no chemicals and no dairy or anything in it. So that's why I choose that one, and water. And on top of that, that's my main nutrient breakfast. But I find the wild blueberries daily. Honestly, I stopped eating them for about 3 days, and I can notice the change, how I feel in my body. They're so antioxidant rich. It's really life changing, I think, once you start having those. But yeah, I would say I'm quite consistent gym wise. So I do like to strength train, weights. I've got a coach. She did a program for me that I follow. So she updates it every 6 weeks. And I mean, I was always against having a coach, but she has helped me with my mindset so much, and also understanding that, she didn't know about lipedema until I started telling her, like, look, I've got this condition. and and having her to help me with my mindset and just setting a gym routine for me has worked wonders. So yeah, daily lymphatic drainage. I do little routines myself, making sure like I'm always constantly massaging around my neck, stretching my neck, making sure I don't have tightness. Even massaging my own body, so a lot of self massage for myself. But yeah, I guess for me, a big thing I would say has been mindset, because I mean, yeah, you just grow up feeling like, oh, I'm just not like everybody else. I'll never be skinny. It's my fault. I must eat too much. And I've told that to myself for many years. And so to get out of that mindset of, this is not my fault. This is just something my body's doing. And it's not really about what I'm putting in or my output, because I mean, on paper, my output is much more than my input. So
For
at some
sure.
point, you
Yeah,
have
I
to
think
come
a lot
to
of
the
us can relate.
realization.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to come to the acceptance that what I'm doing is not working, but it's just something out of my control. So we have to accept that I do the best I can and eat as healthy as I can, and I work out as much as I can, and that's kind of really sometimes all you can do.
That's the basics, isn't it? And I think if we start from those foundations, we're setting ourselves up for a really good place. And sometimes we skip over those, and I think they're probably the most effective because we have the power to do that consistently.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you have this clinic? Do you regularly use your own services, or do you have, yeah?
Yeah, it used to be just me, so it's been very hard. Like I've been
Of course.
doing my business just over 2 years, but I've recently expanded to the Nunda space, and I've got one staff member working with me, so she's constantly I say, help, do my legs, do my tummy. Yeah, so no, that's honestly been so fantastic. That's been a few months now. I've been able to do regular treatments, and yeah, it's life changing.
Yeah, it's nice for you to be able to enjoy the fruits of your own labor. Like
Yeah,
if you set up this clinic, at least you can hop on the machines or use the products and everything and have some hands-on treatment yourself.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So lipedema is an expensive condition and we have minimal financial support. Do you have
Yeah.
any tips for patients or clients on accessing treatments?
Yeah, I have had some clients that are able to put my invoices through NDIS.
Great.
Yeah, so I guess for ladies that are getting lymphatic drainage, make sure that the word massage is actually taken out of there is helpful. So you've got a practitioner that's willing to do an invoice for you so that you can try and claim it through a certain provider or health fund, or mainly the NDIS. If you word it as lymphatic drainage only, it's a different treatment because that's a medical treatment. Yeah, so
Wow.
definitely had success with people in that. And then, yeah, I guess finding practitioners that are willing to, I guess, work with you, so that come up with a schedule that is within your budget. We always offer packages for ladies that are doing regular sessions where it's discounted at a bulk rate. So that's always helpful. But I think if you're finding a practitioner that's really improving your systems, like stick with them. I think that's what's helpful.
What about, like, especially with some of your treatments, and we know that manual lymphatic drainage is really good for our condition, but some of your other treatments like the fat caviation and all of that stuff, it's sort of experimental for us really, because it's not put in any of the lipedema education that stuff is beneficial or, you know, provides success. So what say you when we're curious about these things, but we're a bit hesitant to invest in that sort of thing?
Yeah, well, I mean, a session with us is the same price whether you're getting lymphatic drainage, wood therapy, or the cavitation. So
Right.
if somewhere that you're going is offering that treatment, firstly, I'd also like to say if you're going to get fat cavitation or the skin tightening, never get it without having lymphatic drainage as well. Always have
Right.
the both together. Yeah. So that's something to keep in mind when you are seeking to try that treatment. Always ask, do you do lymphatic drainage massage with the treatment, or is it just simply the cavitation and skin tightening? But I mean, as a clinic ourselves, it's actually no extra cost to you if you're going to incorporate the radio frequency into the treatment.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So,
Oh, that's really good advice to check with the service providers whether they do lymphatic drainage as part of the package for that cavitation. Because you're right, there's if you burn the fat and there's no way for the fat to go, then it goes back in, doesn't it?
Goes back in. That's right.
Yeah. Fascinating. Yeah. Okay. How can we spread awareness in the medical community?
Yeah. That stamp. I said to my partner the other day, I said, we need like a badge that we wear. I have lipedema. What is it with a QR code? Like, how could that be?
That'd be gold.
Like you nearly need it sometimes. Yeah. Yeah. I think, talking definitely, things like this where people can share their experiences. It would be great if there was more funding to research into, these sorts of things. But we just have to look at how it is at the moment, and that's not there. So the more we can talk about it with each other, but also I really like to work in with other practitioners. So when ladies are seeing chiropractors or physios as well. And, I like to say, look, take your lymphatic assessment sheet with you to your practitioner so that we can actually work in with each other. And then that way it's not, we need to create an awareness that lymphatic drainage is like an assistant to other treatments that people are doing. So we're not here trying to make you just do lymphatic drainage. Like all those other things are also very important. So the more we talk, the more we share information with each other, it will just increase awareness.
Excellent. I completely agree with you. So Abby, where can the lipedema community find you and your services?
Yeah, so our clinic's based in Nunda, so just out of Brisbane City. And if you're not in Brisbane, so not near our clinic, then we've got a good Instagram where we offer a lot of information and support and I guess educational reels and things like that. So that's our Instagram is Nuvue Body and our website as well, nuvuebodysculpting.com.au.
Now, we are smack bang in the middle of Lipedema Awareness Month because whilst we pre-record these episodes, obviously, your particular episode is coming out just before the Lipedema Australia conference. But this year's theme for Lipedema Awareness Month is Let's Make a Change. And I'd love to hear, Abby, what that might mean for you.
Yeah, for me, I guess making a change was about recommitting to myself to really focus on what I can do to just stop my lipedema getting worse. If I can get my own body to that point where I'm not increasing my lipedema, then that's a win for me. If I can manage to reduce it in some way, that's an even bigger win. But I guess the goal was just making that commitment to say, you know what, I know I have the knowledge to do certain things. So I want to do those and try it and see where that gets me, but also share that with others so that will empower them to do the same. And I feel like it's becoming more than just, these are the symptoms, this is what lipedema looks like. We need to sort of start progressing past that and actually come up with solutions for each other. Yeah.
Like you're really taking your power back on it. And I feel like, you know, we as a community need to do exactly that. Like we have the power to make change.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
What a great episode. We have run out of questions. I've so enjoyed chatting with you. I'm so curious about your services, and maybe when this pregnancy is finished, I can come and check out your clinic at Nunda.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. Yeah.
Awesome. Abby, thank you so much for joining us this evening.
No, it was lovely to talk to you both, and thank you so much for having me.
Yay, take
You
care.
are most welcome. Bye. When we started the Lipoedema podcast, we relied on word of mouth and existing connections.
Our following has happened organically, and we are so honoured by your support.
As we learn more about the world of social media and algorithms, we have a request.
When you are listening to our podcast or watching on YouTube, let us know what you think.
Hit follow or subscribe.
Leave us a comment or write a review.
The more engagement we get, the more our message is shared.
And the greater our reach to those women suffering in silence.
Thank you for listening to the Lipoedema podcast. Lipoedema and its symptoms vary from individual to individual. The opinions and advice voiced in this podcast are of a personal nature and used for educational purposes.
Please take away from this podcast what resonates with you, and please see your GP or preferred specialist for diagnosis and healthcare. We are Shelley and Tiana from the Lipoedema podcast. Until our next episode, bye for now.